What on, snipers? Naeem Al-Obeidi here. I hope all of you guys are having a wonderful day today. If you're watching this video after it's published, this is our live stream, so if it's an hour long, I do apologize. Feel free to use the 1.25x speed in the settings of the video. But other than that, we're going to be taking price predictions from our audience. We're going to be answering audience questions. We're going to be interacting. It's going to be an awesome night, guys. So let's go ahead and just dive right into it. So currently looking at this chart here, we're watching EOS BTC here. You can see this huge rounding bottom here. We're going to be utilizing multiple different indicators today, utilizing our trading view chart. The link is in the description below for this as well. Let's go ahead and insert indicator here, and let's go ahead and do the favorites, volume, the 3 moving averages, the RSI, and the MACD here. We're going to also utilize the auto fib quite a bit today, and we're going to be progressing in and out of that indicator just to be looking at different price movements. You can see we're starting to get a little bit far away from this 50-day moving average right now, currently about 1.9% away from that 50-day moving average. Continuously moving away from that is also a sign that we will potentially see a reversal coming sometime soon, as this 50-day moving average likes to pull the price down. You can see MACD levels are extremely high, and one interesting thing about the MACD we're starting to see is we're seeing this crossover right here. You can see that's starting to cross down, and that's why you're seeing this price movements kind of following that MACD with this RSI overbought here. When it's over 70, it's definitely a determinant that it's overbought. I actually got a comment on one of our videos today saying if the RSI is like under 30, like 29.99, is that hitting a bottom? And yes, it is. Anything under 30, if it drops under 30, hits 29.98, that is considered a bottom as long as it pops right back up. Typically, it will go a little bit further than that, but sometimes it does actually go that low. I mean, if you pull up this RSI, you can see there are some instances where it will just touch 28.9, but that does indicate that it's the bottom. That's why you see these sharp parabolic run-ups on the RSI as soon as it hits those levels. So looking at this current chart, it does look like over the next couple of hours and days, we may start to see a little bit of some prices tilting to this right-hand side, heading down into a little bit of those lower levels. So let's go ahead and see who else we have online on our live stream here. Let's pop out our chat here and give a couple shout outs here to some of our viewers here. We got Christopher Young in the house, Smithis A, Bug Crypto Pig, Big B in the house saying join our team on Discord for sure. Sanjeev, XRP price going to high. Somebody said, I love you, man. You are a genius. Awesome, Pissar. Thank you, man. Brian Rivers in the house. James Peterson, Carmine Lamone, Lyndon Dyingzon, Dale, Aaron, Mark, Josiah, Sean, The Simpid Coffee, Jared, Nick, Mark, Jacob, Kevin, Fighouse, Hector, Alex, Christopher, Sam. I feel like a radio host right now. So let's go ahead and dive into our next price analysis here in just a second here. Let's pull up our chart once again. Let's go ahead and pick out LTC, BTC. By the way, for those of you on our Discord, I am going to be discussing the futures of Snipers Tube, and I do want to do this with a smaller group of people. So because of that, we're going to be doing a Ruby and Above Night Owl tonight. So for those of you that are Ruby patrons, we're going to be doing a Ruby and Above Night Owl. That's going to be taking place right here in the Ruby Plus area of our Discord. And the reason we're doing a Ruby and Above Night Owl is because I want to discuss a little bit of the futures of Snipers Tube in terms of our educational component and where we're going to be taking the Discord and possibly even an independent proprietary website that we might start utilizing for our systematic education. So it's going to be under the Ruby Plus area. Anybody here over Ruby and above, so all Rubies, Sapphires, Emeralds, Diamonds, Moderators are all going to be allowed there. So I can't wait to see some of you guys there in our Ruby and Above Night Owl. So let's go ahead and pull up our LTC chart here. We have all of our indicators pulled up. We've got a little bit of a triangle here that we formed here quite a couple days ago here. Let's go ahead and remove all these drawing tools for just a second and start to look at this parabolic run-up that we saw here with Litecoin. Really, the best buying point here for Litecoin was when this RSI was extremely low. You can see we were under that 50-day moving average, right around that 0.9, 0.8 Satoshi level, which wasn't too long ago. I mean, this was around the December timeframe, and that's really where we saw this huge run-up. Once we saw this run-up, it looks like we found some support right here around looks like 1.4 million Satoshis, and then we found some resistance right here around 1.9 million Satoshis, and this is really where Litecoin stands right now. So if we go into this graph and we start to look at what Litecoin is progressing to and what it's headed to do right now, you can see it's bouncing up and down along these support and resistance lines, forming this inside channel. So if we go ahead and drop down this 3-hour, you know, we're actually going to utilize the 8-hour chart. I don't utilize this much often, but the 8-hour chart is an interesting chart. It really allows you to kind of zoom right into these charts. Really, these time frames here are extremely important, and you can even add your own. So for example, if you want, you can add a 6-hour So a lot of people don't know you can do this, but yeah, you can add 8 hour, a 6 hour, a 4 hour, a 3 hour, a 2 hour, 1 hour, 45 minutes, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 1 minute. You can do whatever you want to really get into these really more specific candlesticks to see where these price levels are getting. And as you can see with these wicks levels, some of these wicks actually turn into bodies once you zoom in. So for example, you see this little channel here in these wicks. If you zoom into the 1 hour, you see how those wicks turn into actual bodies here. See, this was actually the channel that we were watching. You can see how that wicks turned into an actual candle body. So it's very interesting, and you can really draw out some more concise and specific support and resistance lines, which are extremely important here. How many of you guys know how to utilize support and resistance lines already? Let's go ahead and take a quick community vote here. Who here knows how to use a support and a resistance line? Somebody said Micro Machine commercial guy. Oh man, I used to do a telecommunication sales, so I got really good at talking, I guess. That makes, I mean, I'm really fast at talking. Somebody says, let's look at BCPT, Block Mason Credit Protocol. They have a crypto lending app coming soon for sending and receiving and tracking debt. Interesting, Kevin Madden. Thanks for mentioning that. Are you familiar? Are you related, Mr. Madden? Madden 2018? I used to play Madden all the time. Julio Torres is in the house. Is NEO and gas related in some way? 100%. Good question. Let's go ahead and teach you something, Julio Torres 33, for being a viewer for more than a month. I know you've been on our live streams for a very long time, man. I really appreciate that. So NEO actually rewards you in gas. And if you see here, NEO right here is number 7. If you go down, you can pull up gas here, number 55. You actually get rewarded gas for holding NEO. So it's almost like their way of utilizing proof of stake, right? So you've got this NEO here, $159, and then gas is given. So if you pull up the gas website here, it takes you to NEO's website. So NEO, an app network for smart economy. The first NEO DevCoin will take place on January. And then you can see here, right where it talks about gas. If you go down here, you can see it will actually, where was that? I remember I was looking at this. If we open up the white paper here, you can actually see exactly what I'm talking about. Download page. Where's the white paper, man? I haven't been on this website in a while. Man, NEO is really, honestly, if you go on their on their GitHub, they haven't really updated much recently, and that's one thing that kind of has deterred me. Oh, by the way, guys, I watched this interview today. Actually, it was a video, and I'll actually talk about it a little bit in the Ruby and Above Night Owl tonight. But it was actually it was at my friend's. So my friend Yazan just threw a conference. So you can see, apply for NEO/gas. So gas is pretty much given to you. Here's the technical documents. So let's see if I can pull it up, because they have a really good way of describing it here, and it makes it extremely easy to understand. But when you pull up smart contract consensus, white paper here, so you can see here where they talk about gas and how that's rewarded to you. And I'll actually link this for you. Matter of fact, I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna link this, because I can't go through a whole white paper over this live stream here. I'm gonna link this over to the live stream, and then you can actually look at that, Julio. Maybe that'll help you out. But yes, gas and NEO are extremely correlated. It's gas, right? It's given to you. Matter of fact, Ethereum is the gas reward of the Ethereum blockchain and protocol. So we can get into more of that. But check this out. So my friend Yazan, he actually just had an ICO called the Gibral Network. So if you go to gibral.network, and he threw a conference recently, and I believe it was in New York. And the CEO and founder of Binance actually attended that conference and had a speaking engagement. And oh my gosh, did we hear a lot. This is my friend Yazan here. I've known him for a pretty short amount of time, actually, but he's been a family acquaintance of mine for over 10 years. My mother actually used to babysit him when he was extremely young, back in the United Kingdom. So we have a whole story. We go back in the days, and I recently met him at a wedding that, you know, my whole family attended, and he sat next to me, and we just started conversation. And I was like, you know, I always talk about crypto in some way, shape, or form, and I mentioned crypto, and he's like, oh yeah, I just had an ICO, and then we just kind of engaged from there. And you know, now he's become a mentor of mine, and you know, we were talking today actually, so we're always talking. We're talking about taxes today actually. So if any of you guys are familiar with the Puerto Rican tax laws, send me a message on Twitter. I would love to talk to you, because taxes are extremely vague here in the United States, but apparently in Puerto Rico you can avoid capital gains tax. if you go and you register as a residence in Puerto Rico and you spend 186 days in Puerto Rico, you actually can avoid capital gains tax because they recently implemented its Act 20 and Act 22 in the U.S. tax law for that territory, in which it enables you to not have to pay any sort of federal U.S. income tax. And if so, it's up to 4% if it's a service provided to U.S. customers, but if it's products and services, you are subject to normal taxes. However, if you are going to be under the Act 20 and Act 22, then you are going to be able to avoid capital gains tax. So if you hold any crypto, you technically won't get taxed at all. So I hear a lot of crypto people making money is, they're moving out to Puerto Rico. So if you guys know anything about, if any of you guys have actually, looked into doing that and might have like some extensive knowledge, I'd love to hear a little bit, maybe talk to you a little bit. That's actually something I need to talk to somebody about. I've been looking for more mentors in that realm of accounting and stuff, which I met with an accountant today. So we can go more into that in the Night Owl, but it's a pretty cool thing, right? Let's see if we got any questions. Somebody says, Puerto Rico will be a crypto haven. Somebody says, Naeem is out here dropping gems. That's hilarious, man. I don't even see this as gems. Somebody says, now you're talking, Naeem. Yeah, man, I've been a little down for the past couple of days. I've been so putting my head down, working on some stuff. That's why tonight we're going to be doing a Ruby and Above Night Owl. We're going to be talking about the future of snipers too, because I'm really just trying to mesh everything together and contemplate what I want to do and where I want to take this channel long term, because I know I want to take an educational approach. I know what I want to do with the community, but I also have different methods of doing it, and I need to find out what the most productive and most beneficial method for the community is. So we're going to be talking about that, doing some community consensus in our Patreon Ruby and Above Night Owl tonight. So that's going to be under the Ruby and Above tonight. So under Patreon exclusive, if you're a Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, or Moderator, you guys are going to have the ability to go down there to Ruby and Above. So somebody says, I'm going to go crazy without an ETN overview. Not Discord disclaimer. Use something else, bruh. Somebody says, will BitConnect recover? Well, you might as well use those BitConnect X tokens. Let's all move to Puerto Rico. Heather B says, trips to Puerto Rico. That is hilarious. How much of an effect does an Ethereum chart for a coin screw up the technicals of a BTC chart? For example, does XLM ETH chart screw up a cup and handle on XLM BTC? Garrett Sereno, it's literally exactly what it's meant to be, right? So an Ethereum chart is, if you're trading Ethereum, it's showing you exactly what the value is of something against Ethereum. So if you do XLM ETH, then you're seeing the exact value against Ethereum. It's very different than the XLM BTC chart, where it's a whole different type of pattern. So you can see we're still following this. Remember, we talked about this cup and handle being overstretched. That's exactly what's occurring. Somebody mentioned ETN Electronium. I do want to mention that because it's a coin that I've been touting, and obviously I'm obligated to at least talk about it because it's a coin that I'm invested in too. But Electronium is down right now, but it's not that bad. I mean, I'm not too worried about it, to be honest with you. I mean, you can see 17% down, no big deal, 0.9. I'm really not that worried about it. I've seen this in the market multiple times. If any of you guys watched that CNBC interview, I don't know if any of you guys saw that, where the guy was like, these are the 3 best tips if you're investing in crypto. And he's like some technical stock chart analyst, maybe a Forex trader. And he's like, number 1, you have to have, I think it was like emotional stability. You have to hold, right? HODL. He's like, don't get wrecked. If you see a coin go down 50%, don't sell, and he had some really good advice. I was surprised. I'm like, man, I'm learning. I started taking some notes. I was like, wrecked. I've never heard that before. R-E-K-T. And it was kind of funny. But anyways, yes. Somebody says, do you have a Discord? Are you kidding, man? Of course we got a Discord, dude. We just hit 23,000 members on Discord. This is the best resource available to all of you guys. If you guys are not on our Discord, I'm telling you, it might look pretty crazy out here in the Discord with so many different channels, but all of them actually mean something. Like, we got community consensus. We have voting systems for different coins. If you go down here to tools, trading 101, we got resources. We got everything here, guys. Helpful reads. We got every single coin chat here, and you literally can just ask somebody to add a coin chat, and we'll add a coin here if you guys want to talk about it. You can see people are talking about Electronium today, Icon, Amisco, Neblio, Verge, Tron, Neo, Stellar, and so forth. Somebody says, let's see, Mark Decal said Naeem equals Sopaman. Franz Krishner said Naeem. Dodge, what can I reach that site? How can I reach that site? Somebody, our mods, if you guys can spam, instead of spamming just the Patreon, could you please spam the Discord as well? Sarah and Big B and whoever else is on, please. Thank you. Thank you. Neo would be awesome, somebody said. What's your take on Vibe? I've talked about Vibe. Nate, please check out the pennant. We'll look at these charts, guys. Come on, I want some questions. I hate just looking at tons of requests. I'm like, man, like, could somebody have a intelligent question that I can answer? Because I have so much knowledge in my mind, guys. Like, let me share my knowledge and ask me questions. Somebody says, no crypto tax in Slovenia. Pick my brain, guys. The one thing about having a mentor is typically they're inaccessible, right? So when you have access to your mentor, take advantage of it. I hate spending or wasting time with my mentor. I hate spending time that is wasted with my mentors. You know, not saying I'm your mentor. I don't have to be your mentor, but I definitely have some knowledge I can hopefully add value to some of your conversations and questions, but I'm sure you guys have knowledge too, which is why we do our night owls, right? So, you know, Ruby and Above Night Owl. If you guys are not Rubies and Above, there's already over 80 people here in our Voice 1 or 2 chat. So even if you guys aren't Ruby Patreons, you guys can even just hop into these Voice 2 chats, kind of go in there. The reason I'm doing Ruby and Above, though, is because I am going to discuss the futures of Snipers Tube, and I want to have more of a closed group, individuals that are a little bit more vested in the brand and what we're doing, and I think it's going to be a lot more productive doing it that way. Somebody says, some Aussie dollars for you, mate. Thank you, Jono. That's hilarious, dude. That's awesome. Somebody says, check the description, homie. All right, let's see what questions now. What is your overall outlook for the next 30 days? Not just in price, but news, sentiment, etc. Good question, Jake Esposito. So I was watching the interview today, or the speaking engagement by the Binance CEO. Let me tell you this. He is awesome. You know, he's very humble. I can tell. A lot of these entrepreneurs that come from the Chinese descent are really humble for some reason. You know, and I'm saying that with all due respect. You know, you look at the founder of Alibaba, highly respected individual and Jack Ma, very highly respected individual in my opinion, working in conjunction, apparently doing some sort of collaborations, at least Alibaba as a corporation doing some sort of conjunctions and collaborations with Tron and Justin Sun. But apart from that, the CEO of Binance, I don't know if he's definitely an Asian descent, but very, very humble individual, and he talked about a lot of important things about Binance and different ICOs. One thing he talked about, check this out. He said, I think in a couple years, he said in the next couple of years, in the next few years, there are going to be millions of coins. He says every person from every country, every individual, every corporation is going to have the ability to have their own coins. That blew my mind because I thought of it in a more realistic, rationalized approach and in a more realist approach, and I was like, that makes so much sense. Imagine a world where everyone can have their own sort of fundraising by creating their own coins. And I think the progression into this new realm of blockchain and distributed ledger technology with this consensus system of decentralization is going to create a world, sorry for bumping the mic, creating a world that is going to be interconnected in a manner that the best ideas are going to rule. The best ideas are going to be consensualized by individuals that will consensualize it by investing into that specific coin or idea. So it's highly probable, he's actually mentioned, he said there's over 5,000 coin requests on Binance right now that are pending, right? And there's also another thing he mentioned. He said any sort of coin that is requested to become a part of Binance, there's never going to be a set date to when it's going to be released on an exchange. So he said if you're ever reading a white paper or looking at a coin's website and it says we're going to be on Binance at this exact day, he says disregard that. That company's already being distrustful and dishonest because we don't give exact dates. However, we do try to get the coins up as fast as possible. So that's another thing to notate, right? All of these things, it's what's called being dynamic, right? All of these aspects allow you to become more dynamic when analyzing and researching different coins and ICOs. I just had a friend of mine make $6 million last month just in Las Vegas with people skills, getting into these ICOs and these pre-sales by attending conferences in Las Vegas that have to do with blockchain and Bitcoin where there's all these ICOs being developed. He was able to just take his people skills and develop and create for himself a $6 million passive return on his investments because he was able to get in on these pre-sale ICOs. So very big industry. ICOs, in my opinion, are really going to shape the world. And I think that's why I'm so bullish on coins like Stellar, coins like EOS, coins like, once again, we'll pull up a coin right now, Ethereum, right? Let's pull up ETC Classic. Why don't we do a quick technical here for ETC? Unless you guys want me to continue talking about Binance CEO. What do you guys want? You guys like that? Somebody says, what do you think will happen to the crypto market cap if there is a recession? I think it will soar through the roof, Mr. Marr. We've been in a 9-year bull market in the stock market. Ray Dalio says that every market corrects itself 7 to 10 years. So I think that more money will act as a hedge against the stocks utilizing cryptocurrency. So that's what I think. Somebody says BTG, Bitcoin Gold. So let's go ahead and look here. Somebody says Binance. Julio Pill Paxton says, could you talk about privacy coins? We did a little quick privacy coin video today. It was ridiculous. Somebody commented on the video like, why don't you do, are you ever going to do more like, could you please do fundamental analysis? Because it seems like all you do is technical. When in the first 30 seconds of the video, I specifically said I'm not going to go into fundamentals because of, and I literally said exactly why I wasn't going to go into fundamentals. Like, this guy literally just repeated what I said in the comments because he didn't even watch the video, and he just wanted to go straight to the comment because he saw a chart as soon as he opened the video. People are so naive. Like, you make yourself look stupid, to be honest with you. So even if you're watching this, stop making yourself look stupid. You're not a bad person. I'm just saying you look stupid when you repeat the first thing. And I mean, the comments show. Somebody says, this is Brian Rivers watching the live. That's what I said about people becoming their own avatar. That is awesome, man. Yeah, for sure, Brian. Yeah, dude, I agree with you. By the way, if you guys want to call in, we're going to try something a little bit new. If you guys want to call into the live stream and have a discussion, the phone number is 321-593-5016. Once again, 321-593-5016. If you guys want to ask some questions, call in. It will be featured here on the live chat. You guys can call me right now if you want, and we can talk. So let's go ahead and look at ETC until we get our first caller. Pulling up ETC, you can see here, currently revolving right around this price point. Let's do the one-day chart. Let's go ahead and see what is happening here. We're seeing some resistance. This is Ethereum Classic, by the way. We're seeing some very clear resistance levels here right around 31,890 Satoshis. Somebody says, what's the phone number again? 321-593-5016. If any of you want to call in and ask a question or maybe give a shout out or something productive, something that adds value, feel free to call in right now. We'll take your questions. Audrey Jr. just became a new Ruby. I'll see you tonight in the Night Owl, brother Audrey. It's going to be fun to hear your opinion today and hear your input on what the vision for Sniper's Tube is going to be. The phone number's in the description, by the way, if you guys really want it. You can give a call. You can also use WhatsApp and ring it. So we're seeing some clear resistance here. Okay, there we go. Look at that, snipers. Welcome, snipers. What's going on? Oh man, they hung up. Come on, don't be shy. Come on, show a little maturity. Don't get stage fright. They got stage fright. So looking here, we're seeing some clear resistance right around 31,787 Satoshis. There you go. We got another one. We got another caller. What's going on? How are you doing, man?
Good, good.
Cool, man. How long have you been watching Sniper's Tube?
Maybe a month and a half.
That is awesome, man. What is your username? Maybe I recognized you.
I don't even know, Jeremy. I don't really get social on that. I just do a lot of watching and put thumbs up, and that's about it.
I appreciate that, man. Do you have any? How long have you been in crypto in general?
I jumped in October.
That is awesome, man.
Naeem?
Really good time to jump in. And
oh, this is Naeem.
Yeah, this is. Yeah.
Oh, I'm expecting you're doing a live stream, so I'm watching. I'm like, wait a minute.
No, man.
Oh no, but I have a.
Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I do have a question. I am new to all this, but I'm realizing when I'm looking at coin market cap, they have graphs based on U.S. dollar. Now, when I'm in Binance and KuCoin, for example, the graphs show the coin I want to purchase against, like, Ethereum, for example. I use Ethereum to trade. So what do you think about that? Like, I keep looking at USD value on here, but these graphs are up against the Ethereum value. So I'm kind of confused, because when I go to trade in, it shows, like, with me, I'm 15%. But when I look at the Ethereum value, when I trade it in, it seems like I'm at a loss. What do you think about that, as viewing the value against USD versus the value against, like, Ethereum?
So you want to use, that's a great question, man. You want to utilize the pairings that are appropriate to what you're trading. So let's say you're trading, if you're on Binance, if you're watching the live stream, you can mute it so that it doesn't echo. But if you're watching the live stream, you can go on exchange. You can click like basic, for example, when you're on Binance and you're actually trading. And once you're on your exchange, you can literally go on this top right and you can trade all of these different pairings, which I'm sure you know about. So you got BTC, ETH, BNB, and USDT. So if you're trading ETH, then my suggestion, what I would recommend, is use the ETH chart. And what you can also do on CoinMarketCap is on this top hand where it says USD, you can actually change this to ETH value, and it will literally adjust everything to the ETH valuation. So it'll actually change these percentages on the right to what the Ethereum valuation is. So you can see Ripple is 4.25% up in terms of ETH valuation, but in USD valuation, it's, or if we do BTC valuation, Ripple is at a different valuation. I just lost it. But does that make sense? So you want to use the appropriate pairing, because whatever you're using, if you're trading that and it's dropping in value against that pairing, then it's better to just hold that pairing and not even invest in that coin until it's at an appropriate level to invest in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. So if I'm at 14% USD, but I'm down 6% to the Ethereum value, then I should hold it until I gain value on Ethereum. Because technically, if I trade in, I may be up on USD, but I'm technically losing on the trade. Correct? Because I'm giving up Ethereum value.
Exactly. So you're giving up the value of Ethereum. So you might as well hold it and then trade it at a latter price point. So, you know, one big thing I talk about when any new traders coming into the market, I say always, you know, don't, like, if you want to buy a coin, like right now I say, all right, I want to invest in Stellar, and then I go on the chart and I automatically invest in it like within the same 30-minute time frame, it's typically going to be a bad investment or a bad price position, because it's almost impossible to think about wanting to invest in something and then having an actual entry point that's appropriate at that exact time frame. So the way you'll know that is if you think about an investment like, hey, I want to buy some Stellar, it shouldn't just be immediate. You should open the graph and you should literally go through and do some technical analysis, look at some fundamentals, see if there's anything being released. There's actually another resource that not a lot of people talk about on our Discord. If you go here to you go to resources and you go to calendar, crypto calendar, you can actually see what's being released for most of the coins on the market, and you literally can set up your entry point. And that's the importance of having an entry point and an exit point. And then you always want to do that with the pairing that you're trading. Does that help out a little bit?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Because I just noticed that this weekend, I look at CoinMarketCap and like Neo's in the green, it's like up 8%. Then I look on Binance and it's like, wait a minute, I'm down like 5%. I don't get it.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, thank you for calling in, man. I'm going to continue the live stream, but maybe I'll see you at the Night Owl tonight, or maybe we'll talk sometime soon.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for taking the question.
For sure, man. Take care. All right, guys. Good questions. We're not going to take a ton of questions like that. I mean, that's going to take quite a while, but isn't that kind of cool? Should we do that more often? We probably should, for sure. So let's go ahead and let's take some other questions here. Let's see what people are saying. Somebody says, that was a great question. Watch the Satoshis. That is funny. Somebody said, dumb question. Don't be cynical. There's too many cynical people out there, man. Like, you have to be appropriate. I mean, don't, like, you probably, I mean, to be honest with you, most cynical people were bullied when they were younger. Like, that's really the truth. They have a psychological part inside of them that is lacking. You know, it's typically a psychological issue that people have, and they become cynical, and you know, you kind of want to feel bad for them, but at the same time, it's like, dude, get around people that aren't as cynical, right? Like, if you were bullied when you were little, that's fine. I understand. I mean, I empathize for you, but at the same time, don't just hate yourself forever, right? You need to get around people that can bring you up and make you better and lift you up, because if you're around other people that have been bullied and they have low self-esteem, low self-image, low self-confidence, low ego, right? You want to have a certain ego. Ego, not too much is bad, but you want to have a what I call an appropriate ego, right? Because you want to have some sort of confidence. And if you're not around people that have that or have that confidence, you're never going to get it. So the best way to change yourself or become better or grow into what you want to become is to get around people that are where you're at or what you want to become. So I feel bad for cynical people, right? People that make fun of others and that like to hate or spread news or drama. Like, come on, man. Like, seriously, psychologically, you guys need some help. Not all of you, but I'm just saying. And it's even harder to trade. Somebody says ego suicide. That's funny. This is a good question. Somebody said, how many people... Somebody said, how do people in the United States invest in ICOs when the government regulates them? Corey D. A lot of people, I'm not advocating this once again, but a lot of people will utilize, other sorts of methods to get into these ICOs that restrict U.S. investors. So let's go ahead and complete some quick analysis here. Let's see if ETC is a good buy, because actually it is possibly going to be a trade that can be made here. You can see prices are pretty low. Volume is starting to increase. There's a couple things here that I like about this graph. You can see volume here getting a little bit higher. Not only is the volume increasing, you can see we have some very clear support lines right around 14,258 Satoshis. And then along with that volume level, you can see we're starting to roll around this channel. We hit double top here twice, drop back down. Typically when you see these double tops, guys, this would be an indicator that you're going to probably go down in price. So when you see these two long green and red candlesticks right here, this is an indicator of a possible drop, and that's why you saw this. So be mindful of that in the future. And then as you can see, these prices started to increase a little bit with this channel forming horizontal once it hit that previous bottom. See, these are very predictable trades, guys. You can see RSI hit bottom here, and you could have predicted. See, here's another way that you guys can utilize swing trades and make tons of profit by being focused on these RSI levels. So when you see that prices hit bottom at a specific price point, you could also assume that if it's going to go back to that price point, if you see it here, but the RSI isn't that low, but at that same price point, it was really low at one point, you could also determine that this is a bottom just because you can almost cross-reference RSI levels with the price zones. And that's also another strategy of utilizing RSI. So it's called cross-referencing. And you definitely want to utilize that in some cases. You can see now we're starting to form a more gradual pattern up that's a little bit more stable, riding along that 50-day moving average here with ETC. So I think if it can continue to ride along this, if it breaks this pattern, I think we can see it most likely go back up to these previous resistance lines, and that would really be the best swing trade here for this. If it can jump from this channel to this channel. Let's pull up the auto fib really quick. See, our goal is to find some sort of good trades today, at least one. Let's see if we can find one good trade today. This has been a pretty down market. So you can see that also correlates with Fibonacci. So looks pretty good there. Let's look at some requests here, some questions. Who do we got online? Leroy in the house. Somebody says, so Naeem, would you sell EOS right now and buy back when RSI goes lower? If you're at a profit, feel free to take profits, man. Never say no to profits, Marius. Somebody says, Saya coin interesting. Very interesting. We had a very good conversation about that. Do we have a night owl tonight? Yes, our night owl tonight. Guys, I want to get into a little bit more about the future of Sniper Soup tonight, so I want a little bit more of a closed group. So it's going to be Patreon, Ruby, and above members only. So we're going to be under Ruby Plus here. If you're not a Patreon, Ruby, and above, that's fine. You guys can go into Voice 2. We got tons of people here as well chatting. Great knowledge there. However, for the night owl that I'm personally going to be answering questions in, talking about what I heard about from the Binance CEO and from my friend Yazan, it's all going to be under Ruby and above. You can see Alibaba is the first one there right now. Look at that, ahead of the game. I like people that are ahead of the game. I'm going to say congrats to him. Congrats. Look at that. And he's a sharpshooter. He's a sharpshooter too. Look at that. That's awesome. There's different levels on the Discord. It's our form of gamification. Just Fasal said, last two night owls, you were not there, Naeem. I stayed up until 4 a.m. Yeah, I apologize. I did apologize, though, in the night owl, so you did hear that part of it. I do apologize, man. We had something happen in the Discord that we had to handle, and you know exactly what that was if you were there, so apologize about that. Do you think the future of crypto is going to be most beneficial to logistics, AI, or privacy coins? I think first, logistics, second, privacy coins, and then third, AI. The reason I put in that order, Casey, is because I think AI AI in general, artificial intelligence, has some way to go. I think logistics is more of a disruption industry. So once blockchain can disrupt it, it's a lot easier to disrupt an industry like Uber did than to create or implement yourself into a new industry. And then I think privacy coins after logistics, because privacy coins, in my opinion, will come as currency comes into blockchain. But there's already tons of different blockchain implementations that are currently occurring right now. So we got a snipers calling right now. Maybe we'll take some calls. We got 8 missed calls right now so far. That is awesome. So somebody says, you're very welcome, Casey. Snipers Tube Discord is the best. Yes, it is. S. Thomasan. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Those Ruby Night Owl plus Ruby Aboves are good too. How do we become a Ruby? It's on the Patreon, M-Dog. So we have the Patreon. I think, yeah, we have Rubies left. So if you go to patreon.com/snipers, if you go here, this is how the page will look. And then all you have to do is look at the different tiers that we have. All the Rubies get, they get all of our instant trade alerts, portfolio updates, podcasts. Oh, by the way, I am going to be enhancing some of the trade alerts soon, guys. I'm really excited to announce that soon as well. We have this whole new system that's going to come and revamp it so we can actually have long-term, short-term, and mid-term swing and trade alerts that we can actually post so that we can have a multitude of that for day traders, swing traders, and value investors. So we're working on all these systems, and that's kind of what the Night Owl is going to be about tonight. We're going to talk about the futures of Sniper Tubes and where we think the community wants to go. And that's why I'm only going to open it for those that are at least in some way vested into the community. And that's actually part of being a Ruby. You get access to these live calls every now and then. So you get bonus content, live calls, and Night Owls. So these are all the bonus contents that we post for the Rubies. So I can't wait for that tonight. That's why we're going to try to get this live stream out of the way. Let's go ahead and do our next coin request really quick so we can kind of scroll through this. Qtum BTC is another coin that we have here. Let's go ahead and see what's going on with Qtum. You can see on this one-day chart, we've just jumped over that 50-day moving average. I'm telling you guys, if you guys would have watched this coin before this jump up, you could have realized it right here. December 7th, it was under that 50-day. Best time to buy. Over this 50-day moving average, everything turns around. You know, look, RSI goes over 40. You see RSI flipped, inverted, right? It was on that latter end, and now it's on the higher end. And you can see that all happens with that RSI shoots up. Not only that, shoots on top of that 50-day. MACD crosses over. We may see an initial uptrend right now based on this MACD level. There's a fast line here in blue, and then there's a slow line in orange. So if you guys want to look at this MACD and how it works, you double click it. The fast length is set at 12. The slow length is set at 26. The signal smoothing is at 9. And that fast length is in blue. Anytime it crosses, you can see right here, we saw this price swing right over here. You see that price swing? Same thing. Look, RSI crossed over right when that happened. So typically the MACD. Typically the MACD is a little bit late when this happens. So this will happen before the MACD will cross, but it's also a good indicator of how parabolic or steep these swings are occurring. So hopefully that helps out a little bit. But looking at this chart here, you can see we're finding some clear support here, right around 293,000 Satoshis. Finding some resistance levels right around 408,000 Satoshis. And then we're forming that clear channel forming right over there. Now we're starting to see parabolic run-ups coming and starting to form there. So let's take some requests here and see. Somebody says, I've been searching for a channel just like this for so long. I hope you realize how much you are helping people, Naeem. Thank you, Marius. I really appreciate that, brother. That means a lot to me, man. Really, really do appreciate that. Do you ever have limit buy and sell orders placed at the same time? To be honest with you, I've used it less often than I do in traditional stocks. So this is something I do want to announce here. This will help a lot of you guys that use limit buy and sell orders. In traditional stocks, traditional markets, I use that quite a bit often, and I'll tell you exactly why. Let's say I was trading the Apple stock, right? Which you don't typically want to day trade the Apple stock. I mean, you can, but it's not the most volatile thing out there. But you can see there's not as many of these wicks, right? Because it's such a stable market. You don't see these wicks that form like that, right? Do you guys see that? You don't see this right here. This is unheard of here. Like if you pull this Fibonacci out, you don't see these wicks that are extremely parabolic that we've seen before. Like these wicks are a little bit more rigid and concise. So setting up a stop loss right down here is pretty safe. You're not going to expect this to just drop down like that and trigger that stop loss. And anytime that wicks drops like that, it triggers the stop losses. So what I've taken my approach here with this market that has these crazy, you know, look at this, way higher. These wicks are way more sporadic. Look at that. This is just insane. The approach that I've taken is to just set up trade alerts. So I set up stop loss alerts is what I call it. So if I put it right here, I'll literally just right click this and then click add alert on trend line. And then I'll get myself an alert instead of actually having that actual stop loss set up, because a lot of you guys will get burned doing that and those stop losses trigger on accident. Somebody says, what's the meaning of a stop loss on Binance? It's, I believe, a greater than or equal to order or a conditional order, one of those. That might be mixed up with Bittrex. Somebody says, can't avoid market crash unless you sell it for USDT. Interesting. You're very welcome. Who else do we got? Zach Crocker Dent. Nice channel. Thank you, brother. What is the Wraith protocol? Pill Paxton. The Wraith protocol is actually a protocol implemented with Verge, in which Verge is actually implementing a cross-hybrid breed of a Monero Verge type of coin, which basically means Verge was known to have the I2P verification, or the shielding, which actually shields the IP addresses through the Tor network. And that allows you to send these transactions that can't be tracked in terms of IP address to a certain degree. I mean, if we go to, you know, we've done this before in the voice chats. We've gotten programmers on. They're like, well, you can actually track any VPN if you just cross-reference this and that. And that's true. But the fact is, it uses Tor networks to, it uses Tor networks to shield these IPs. So that's Verge, right? Shielding IPs. Monero is known for a private ledger. What is a private ledger? Well, if you go on Bitcoin, you type in Bitcoin ledger, you can see all the transactions. Actually, if you type in Bitcoin rich list, that's a better idea. You can see the people who own the largest amount, the wallets that have the largest amount of Bitcoin in them. So you can see all of these wallets, and you can also cross-reference where these coins came from. So you can actually click on these and see the transactions that occurred within this wallet. So it's not necessarily like 100% anonymous in the fact that if somebody has your public key and public wallet address, they can actually tell where the coins are at. So you can see the top wallet right now has 179,203 Bitcoin in it, which is 2.5 or $2 billion. The next one is Bitfinex. This is your cold wallet. So this is actually the exchange's wallet that has $1.6 billion in it. And then you can see there's other wallets here that are pretty public. Like if you go down, Kraken has its own wallet with $254 million. Bitmain has a wallet here, public. And then some of these other ones are exchange wallets that they just don't list it there. So you can't do that with Monero. If you do Monero rich list, look what it does. It's actually kind of funny. I like how they did it. You actually click Monero rich list and then it says Monero is fundamentally private. I thought you knew. Come on, man. Really? Really, it is. It is based on the CryptoNote protocol. It uses unique one-time addresses for each transaction so that only the receiver knows where the money went. This is good, believe me. And then it goes into that. So that's kind of what Monero touts itself as. And that's what Verge is implementing in the Wraith protocol. It's allowing you to use that private ledger and the public ledger with an on and off switch. So you can literally turn it on and off, on and off. If you want to use a public ledger, you turn it on. If you want to use a private ledger, you turn it off. So that's what the Verge protocol is. Good question. The Wraith protocol. Somebody says, where's the Night Owl tonight? The Night Owl is going to be in our Discord under Ruby Plus. You can see we already have 4 people here. All Ruby and above Patreons. If you guys are not Patreons, the link is in the description right on top of the Discord link. And all Rubies and above will be able to come in. If you become a patron, I know we just had a couple of Patreons just kind of roll into it without even realizing it. Well, we got tons of them, actually. Shout out to Audrey. Shout out to Peter Janoda. Shout out to Kings Wong. Samuel Franz. Shout out to Christy McFadden. Look at that. Christy made a decision to upgrade there. And then shout out to Tyler for becoming new Patreons. It will automatically assign you the Discord role, and then you guys can actually come into this Ruby and above Night Owl. I want to keep it a little bit smaller because we're going to be going over a little bit more of this future of Sniper's Tube, and I want more of a smaller environment. People that are actually vested into Sniper's Tube, because I want to discuss where I want to take the educational resources and how the future can look in the next couple of months, especially utilizing the Discord. And then for those of you not Rubies, it's fine. We have a Voice 2, Voice 1 area. You guys can come in here, chat along with your peers. Tons of people here, tons of knowledge, and you guys will certainly enjoy that for yourself as well. Let's go ahead and look at the chat one more time. See what we've got. Somebody says, let's see, Sasha, I love your channel. Thank you. I appreciate that. Greg Bursanev, the stop loss, he says, how do you do stop losses? We have a stop loss tutorial on our channel. I highly recommend just utilizing it. But, you know, a stop loss is extremely important. I don't want to go through a whole tutorial. People get bored of that. But it's actually, the coin is called How to Trade Bitcoin in a Bubble. Something like that. Just type in Bitcoin bubble on my search, and then you guys can do that. Let's take a call. We got a call coming in. Snipers is calling in. We're doing it 321-59. What is it? 321-593-5016. Let's go ahead and take a call.
Call from unknown caller.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, hi, this is Vince calling from Tony's Pizza. Your pizza's out for delivery, but we're having problems with your credit card.
Oh, really? I thought I was going to pay in Bitcoin.
Okay, well, somebody placed an order 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Medium cheese pizzas. They're coming for delivery. They're out right now.
Could I pay in Bitcoin?
Well, I don't know. Maybe somebody else in the house ordered it. I don't know.
No,
I just know the pizza's got to be paid for.
Okay, do you accept Bitcoin?
Look, the total is $26.81.
How many?
Tip. You
But how
try
much?
another credit card? You can pay cash. What?
How many Bitcoin is it?
Look, your delivery driver is going to be there. You know, he's going to come soon. You got to have you sort it out with him, okay? The pizzas are not refundable.
All right, I'll give him the Bitcoin. Don't worry, that's fine.
We've just been pranked, courtesy of.
That's funny. All right, guys, let's go ahead and look at there. So he says that's a recorded one. Yeah, I didn't know. I hope it was somebody real. I mean, that would have been interesting. We're doing little. Should we do prank calls on this channel? I'm just kidding. Let's not do that. So he says, does anyone know what Bitcoin really going? What about? I don't even know what they said. How do you utilize certain Fibonacci levels in uptrends and downtrends to buy and sell? Good one, Haig. Good question. Let's go ahead and utilize Fibonacci levels as we analyze this next chart here, which is going to be NEO. Let's pull up NEO BTC. How do we use Fibonacci retracement? So the Fibonacci level is an age-old principle. We got another call. Should we take it? Let's finish the Fibonacci. Sorry, whoever's calling. Call back in just a sec. So in order to look at the Fibonacci retracement, the Fibonacci retracement is an age-old principle, and it's all based on arithmetic math, right? It's all just math and numbers. There's certain Fibonacci levels here. You can actually do a manual Fibonacci retracement by right-clicking this third line here in TradingView, going down to Fibonacci retracement, and then the way you set it up is based on what you're trying to look for. You want to click the highest point in the chart with the wicks, right? So go on a one-day chart, click the highest point with the wicks, and then you want to drop this down all the way to the lowest point that you can find on the chart that's observable. So this is the Fibonacci levels that you're seeing here. And once again, once you have that set up, you click it in. Actually, there was one wicks that was all the way down here, if you see this. So we actually might have to go down. Unfortunately, that was not the right area. Right here is the area. And that's actually very accurate. So check this out. Fibonacci, there's many different multiples. That's what I call them. There's the 38, the 0.5, the 0.6, the 0.7, the 1, 0.3, 0.2. Some traders don't like to use all of these. They only like to use the 0.38 maybe and the 0.78 or the 0.6. But for the most part, just utilizing Fibonacci and doing a basic tutorial, you can utilize the Fibonacci to determine potential support and resistance levels. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, check this out. You can see here, when we popped from this red, you can see when we went under this red, we found resistance right on that red. We didn't break this red Fibonacci until this price point where we broke through, and then look at that. The first red candlestick occurred right at the top of this Fibonacci line, because this is where we started to find some resistance. So potential resistance levels can occur at these Fibonacci levels. You can see even here, this Fibonacci level is a lot thinner. We found resistance immediately at that Fibonacci. Look at that. Went back up. Fibonacci resistance. This one broke through the second Fibonacci but found resistance here at the top of the Fibonacci. And then here's another instance where we found support at the Fibonacci right here. You can see support at the Fibonacci level. Very interesting, right? So that's another way you can utilize to find really good entry and exit points. So there's also an indicator. Instead of using the Fibonacci retracement, which is like the manual, if you're driving a manual car, how many people here drive manual? That's a good question. I wonder. I know it's a random question. How many here drive manual? Let's see. Somebody says, Naeem, I will get a sniper's tube tattoo on Venice Beach if you give me 1 BTC. That is hilarious, man. People will do anything. Somebody says, I do. Ryan, Travis, Garrett, Donnie, FOMO, Tyler, I used to drive manual. High Renaissance. Oneness says, I do. That is interesting. More people than I thought. Manual Jeep Renegade from Off Lease only. Son. That is awesome, man. Off Lease is a huge company. I'm in a manual semi right now, 10 speed. That is awesome, James. Shout out to our truck drivers. They get underpaid. Without truck drivers, you wouldn't have all these Amazon packages. I mean, theoretically, maybe in the future, the drones. But for now, you need these truck drivers. So shout out to the truck drivers. They're getting the food distributed across everywhere. They get all the utilities and supplies out to different industries, mechanics, tons of different stuff. Buff Muff says, do you day trade? I'd probably want to consider myself a retired day trader at this point. I've done so much day trading. At this point, I'd rather teach it. I'd rather have engagement. It's like doing something for a while. You're like, man, there's people that have done it a lot longer than me. I mean, don't get me wrong, but I find more passion in engaging with the community, growing a community, and teaching what I've learned through my day trading. So right now, more so a value / swing investor. I do have some long-term holds. I still day trade every now and then if I'm doing it for a tutorial or something. If I'm doing a one-on-one with our Diamond Patreons, I'll do some quick sessions one-on-one. But for the most part, I have some long-term holds set up. I have some swing trades that I have occasionally here and there. But my main focus right now is growing this community, enabling you guys to be able to become traders and understanding these different patterns. I started my first 2 patterns, the cup and handle and the head and shoulders. So one breakout pattern and one reversal pattern. And that was perfect for me at the time. I highly recommend you guys start one at a time. If you guys are on our Discord under Trading 101, you guys can actually go in there and see exactly how that works. Somebody says, ask a question. I'm trying to win a book. You guys want to do a book giveaway? So we got this book here, The Internet of Money. Internet of Money. Who wants this book? Let me read one quick portion of this book. Maybe a portion that I've highlighted before. So let's see a highlighted portion here. Oh man, this isn't the one that I highlighted. I have another one of the highlighted one. Somebody says, now we have Bitcoin. Bitcoin is, in my mind, a pretty radical transformation. It's as radical as the change from precious metals to paper money. Perhaps even more radical. So what is Bitcoin? The fundamental issues in describing Bitcoin is that you use references to our existing experience. That experience is based on thousands of years of understanding what money is in a very physical form. Now we're trying to explain a form of money that is completely abstract. It's a token that represents acceptance in a network-centric form of money, but that doesn't even begin to describe what the thing is. One paragraph in this awesome book that talks about Bitcoin and distributed ledgers. We're going to go ahead and give one away. Highly recommend it. If you guys don't win, you're more than welcome to tune in to our Discord. And if you guys go to Helpful Reads, I have all of my favorite reads here. If you're a little bit more intricate and more understanding of blockchain and distributed ledgers, for those of you that have invested in Bitcoin for a long time, Mastering Bitcoin is also a really good book. It's meant for programmers. However, in my opinion, it's a book that can really assist you with understanding the white papers that you start to read on a daily basis if you guys are investing in these newer ICOs, because it really goes into the distributed ledger, and that is universal with all blockchains, right? So How Money Got Free is also a great book for the ladies that are a little bit more of the sensual individuals that want a little bit more emotions tied to it, because it really goes in the past, present, and future of Bitcoin. Really good book, even for men though. I'm not, discriminating. I'm just saying, sometimes the coding and stuff isn't really attractive to some people. Principles by Ray Dalio is a great investment book as well. He ran one of the largest hedge funds. It's one of the first books I've read that incorporates personal development, emotional trading with personal and technical trading, which is really cool. So here's going to be the question for this giveaway. Somebody says, Doug Polk and Naeem are both great to watch. Thank you. Somebody says, men are emotional. Actually, I heard men are more emotional. They just know how to hide it better. So the Anissa said, I've been watching your channel for over 2 months and you're awesome. I would like the book. That's awesome. 2 months. Well, you have to answer the question correct. And the question for the day is, what is the ICO that... No, I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that question. I want to do something easier. What does initial coin offering stand for? What does the initial coin offering stand for? Oh, Okay, never mind. All right, that was bad. I said it in the question. Sorry. No, that's right. All right, new question. I was gonna say, what does ICO stand for? Man, I gotta dumb myself down. I always try to remind myself to dumb myself down. No, but it's not ICO. I always, my mentor taught me this is his name. If you're ever teaching, you have to go back to your first day and understand it from that perspective when you first got into that industry or whatever you're talking about. So, somebody just sent me a text. Thanks for all you do for the community. I'm new to this field. Can we trade as many times possible until we're moving to USD non-taxable? Can you build the perfect rounded portfolio for long? Okay, there's a more complex question. It's a little bit complex. Whoever sent me the, thank you for the gratitude. The portfolio question is a little bit more complex. You know, you want to build a diversified portfolio, include large caps, small caps, mid caps, but diversify it properly where you have anchors is what I call it in your portfolio, where there's a majority in a certain coin. So, somebody says initial coin offering equals initial coin offering. So the question for this book is, let's see here. Man, I'm trying to think. So the question for the book giveaway is going to be, what is the, let's see, who was the founder of Ripple? And whoever is the third person to answer it gets the book. Who's the founder of Ripple? Who is the founder of Ripple? The third person gets the book. The third person that's on my screen. Bam. Jed McCaleb. Somebody said Brad Garlinghouse. He is the current CEO of Ripple. Chris Larson. Actually, Chris Larson was a part. Actually, let's actually Google Chris Larson really quick. Yeah, he actually did co-found. Did he co-found? Interesting. Co-founder and former CEO of Chris Larson. So he did co-found it with Jed McCaleb. So Jed McCaleb also. So I'll take both of those answers. But Brad Garlinghouse is the current CEO. He was actually the ex-CEO of AOL. Jed McCaleb, though, is the one who developed January McCaleb's Ripple token ownership. So he founded the company Ripple in 2011. So we'll take Chris Larson as one. So this is number one, number two, and then the winner is Andika Perdana. And I think that's funny because Andika is the same person that said, I've been watching you for 2 months. Oh, no, that was Anissa. Sorry. But shout out to Andika Perdana, third person on my screen. You won. Send me a message on Twitter, and we'll verify your YouTube account, and you won the book. We'll go ahead and send that out to you. So, good job. Somebody said, name calling. Okay, that's fine. Somebody says, we all Googled that. Somebody says, I am the founder of Ripple. Kasim Mahmed. If you're the founder of Ripple, man, send me a text, dude, so we can have an interview here live on Sniper's Tube. That would be awesome. Let's go ahead and do our next coin here, LTC. So looking at this, by the way, just so you guys know, with NEO, in my opinion, looking at these price levels, we're really high with MACD, really high with RSI, and we're fairly high from that 50-day moving average. Unless there's going to be some sort of news and fundamental aspect of NEO that can make this breakout, I don't necessarily see any further breakout in the near future, especially because we have this huge channel forming here. And this is a good thing in certain manners because it's tight, but at the same time, you can see we're still finding that resistance here right around 1.4 million Satoshis. So in my opinion with Ripple, unless it can break this, the one thing I would watch for here, actually, let me talk about this really quick because this is important to notate. If Ripple if NEO breaks out of this channel, there could certainly be a breakout here with NEO. And the reason I say that is because it's starting to kind of test these resistance levels, and you can see here it never really broke that resistance. Typically when something is at a point where it's messing, or I guess you can say it's I was gonna say messing around with the resistance, but it's more so testing resistance multiple times, or at least staying within the resistance zone in a horizontal channel, that is a sign of potential upside that can certainly come in the future as the sell volume starts to decrease, more buy volume comes in, and all it takes is one wave of buy volume to really bring this price up. So even though the MACD and RSI is high, so we'll go ahead and actually look at this here. We don't want to contradict ourselves, but you can see the MACD is high for sure, but it's not as high as it was here. So it has room to grow. So there's a potential that what I would do is set up an alert here. If NEO passes this price zone here, right around 1.46 million Satoshis, where right now we're at 1.35 million Satoshis, then there is going to be a huge upside potential for Ripple or NEO. So I'm going to actually set an alert there too, so I can actually possibly trade that, because I like these type of channels that form at the top of the resistance, because when it breaks that resistance, there really is no stopping it from going a lot higher than where it's currently at. But you can see volume is too low right now. But it's good that it's maintaining these price levels with these low volumes. It shows you a sign of some strength. It's going to take this type of volume, though, to really see it push and see some crazy upside. So we'll continue to watch NEO. And then LTC, BTC. Let's go ahead and look at LTC here. And while we're doing that, let's look at some questions. It looks like we're having a fun time doing these questions. Do you have somewhere where you give lessons, anything like that? That's funny. I have a diamond Patreon called Mahmed. I don't know if that's you, Mr. Kasim Mahmed, but probably not, because I give Mahmed personal lessons. But, you know, I try my best to do one-on-one lessons, but it's really, you know, it's something that gets requested quite often, like a lot, you know, and I have to value my time in some shape or form. So I do reserve that for VIP, certain Patreon levels. But I would say just watch the videos, to be honest with you. You know, the videos are free. You don't have to be a Patreon to watch these videos, and you guys can get a lot of knowledge on these videos. You know, Patreons are for people that want a little bit extra. Like tonight, we're going to be doing a Ruby and above night owl for all Rubies and above. So if you guys are Ruby Patreons and above, you guys are going to be allowed to come into that night owl, and then feel free to do that. So somebody says Sapphire is sold out. Yeah. Unfortunately, the system will automatically refresh that, so you can always check back and see if there's any availability, but typically it does have some sold out periods, you know, but as there's, you know, obviously retention and stuff, so if somebody you know, if it gets filtered out of that, then it will add that position back, so you can always refresh that quite often. Somebody says Sapphire sold out, Julio. Just continue to refresh it, man. People have had, I had one diamond say diamond is sold out, and then he kept refreshing, and then it opened up. So somebody says, are those glasses Gucci? No, these are not Gucci. These are not Gucci at all. I haven't treated myself in that way yet. I probably should, right? Have a little bit of a self-respect and self-confidence. Get a little bit of that nice bling bling on me. Somebody says, Naeem, do you still owe me 20 shekels from the Balad? You're funny. BTC is going to break resistance at 11K. Could it be headed much lower? Any questions that you guys have? Any good questions? Somebody says, I need knowledge gains. Naeem, you owe him 2 books. Good. Somebody said, let's see. Jed McCaleb. Sniper's Tube. Buff, how many Lambos do you own? If I'm going to ever have a Lambo, I wouldn't own it because they depreciate really fast. If you guys know anything about depreciation, then sometimes it's better to lease it, especially if you can do it as a business lease. That's why you see some people make videos with their Lambo, because they can easily report that as a business expense. So if you guys know about finances at all, then you guys know how to, you know, be smart about it. You don't want to necessarily buy a Lamborghini. They depreciate really fast. As soon as you drive those things off the lot, they depreciate. So you want to be careful with how you do that. Why don't you do a morning bird instead of a night owl? Chico 10. That is funny. We might do a morning bird soon for the rubies, right? We'll do a ruby and above morning bird maybe. Somebody said, when do you think XRG will go back to 13 cents? I think Verge might take a little bit of time. I mean, you saw a huge run up. Well, we got to do LTC in just a sec. So I think Verge will take some time. We did a price prediction on that today on the video, so you can watch that. Shout out to Galvin Selwyn, just became a new Ruby. I'll see you tonight, Galvin. Yes, we're going to be doing our Ruby and above night owl. So that's going to be under the night owl Ruby and above. You can see we have a couple people here. Bitcoin Billionaire, Brando Tech, Cuddle Puddle, Indie Chick, Kali's here. But if you guys want, for those of you that are not Rubies and above, we're all going to be under Voice 2. Not me, but a lot of people are already there. So if you guys want to just join into Voice 2, there's always chats happening here. But the one I'm going to be in, answering questions and going through the future of Sniper's Tube, where I'm going to do a little bit of a discussion tonight. And I also want to talk a little bit about the stuff that the Binance CEO talked about. You know, so much enlightenment that I got from that, so much wisdom and knowledge from the Binance CEO. I mean, it was surprising. It was really the first time he's actually spoken on stage. So It was at my friend's conference, Yazan, and one of my mentors from the Jibril network, and it was astonishing to hear what he had to say. I mean, he was talking about, you know, receiving $1 million offers of people that want them to list their ICOs on his website, and him denying those offers because he said, quote unquote, he literally said verbatim, you know, I don't need any more money, you know. So he's definitely making a lot of money as the Binance CEO. And I think he said it's only been up for 6 months. He said that the highest day, like he said, within 1 hour, there were like 300,000 registrations at one point. And this was after that little sporadic spur up. Like he said, they open up registrations randomly throughout the day so that people can kind of fairly get into it, and they'll open up for 2 to 3 hours. And he says hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people will flock and register. He says the biggest thing with ICOs are liquidity. He says that's the biggest thing with ICOs. And he says the biggest thing that attract people to Binance is the liquidity on Binance. So a lot of these things, I mean, we'll talk about more of that in the Night Owl tonight for those of you that are rubies and above, but it was just astonishing and eye-opening. You're a good midnight. You love talking about Yazan. Yeah, man. I mean, he's a mentor of mine in this, and he's helped me a lot. No, I'm not the same as Mohammed. You might know LOL, but do you think Trinity Network credit? I've never heard of that. What does it take to get to Ruby level? Steven Saminsky. It's actually just a Patreon level, so if you go on our Patreon website, you can actually go on there. There's different tiers that we have, so patreon.com/snipers, and then Ruby is right here. You just want to click become a patron, and then it'll show you all of the different availabilities here. We just added a couple new ones, so I think there's a couple remaining there, and then Ruby is right over here. But this is where you guys get the bonus content, live calls, and night owls. So let's go ahead and finish this LTC chart really quick, because I do want to address this, being the fact that there might be a potential breakout here. You can see we're at these higher highs, and we've seen these run-ups occur. I think we already looked at the LTC chart, right? Bouncing off this, you can see here, if you look at where we're bouncing on, it's right at that 50-day moving average. So we're finding resistance right now around that 1.9 million Satoshi level. Even if we went over, I'll do it again. Where the stronger resistance is right around 2.1 million Satoshi. So right around that big even. You can see we formed a double top. Here's how a double top looks, guys. Remember we talked about the double top? Look at this, another double top. Top one, top two, tested twice, and that double top drops down. So I think we have that. Do we have the double top on our trading view? If you guys are on our trading view, I think we have a double top. We have a triple bottom. Yeah, look at that, double top, bam. So exactly what you're seeing here. So you have this neckline that forms, then you have those two peaks. That's how the double top forms, and that's a form of reversal. That's why these patterns work, guys. Like I'm telling you, uptrend, first top, second top, breakout. So same exact thing that we saw here, and that's how this double top formed. We saw this reversal, very predictable. RSI was high, same exact thing. And then now you can see we went up here, we hit top once, didn't form a double top this time. Potential, let me see here, potential horizontal channel gonna form here. I don't really see this dropping yet, being the 50-day has been able to catch up here. But understand this though, the 50-day was around this price level at one point, and that dropped below the 50-day, and you can see how far down it went at one point. So don't let this fool you here. If it stays above that 50-day, you still want to continue to watch this price level. And if I were to set up stop losses, the one thing I'll tell you if you're trading Litecoin is set up your stop loss right over here. You know, set up your alert there. And the reason I say that is because you can see in the past here when it dropped below that 50-day, look how steep it went down, right? Dropped below the 50-day, went down. Dropped below the 50-day, went down. So if this drops below 50-day, guess what might most likely happen? It's going to go down. So I would set up those stop losses there if you're trading Litecoin right now. They are trading at high levels, not the highest levels. They've been at higher levels before. But in terms of Satoshi level, it's definitely high. So don't let the USD valuation fool you, because if you pull up the LTC USD valuation, it's a lot different. So that's why it's important to look at Satoshi levels. You can see right now we're back at these higher highs that we saw previously when those USD valuations were high. Somebody says, Samuel, what do you think of gas? Thanks for all you do. Gas. Well, if you want me to do a technical on gas, we can always look at the technical here. Let's see here. Looks like we just popped on top of that 50-day Looking like we're seeing a little bit of a breakout here. Interesting. I don't know how long this is going to last though, because look at this RSI. It's trying to curve up, but it's not. It's still below. It's trying to. It very may well curve up here and then cross with this slow line, and then this RSI might end up going up here, and this will probably reach a little bit of a higher level. I don't think that's going to be enough to take it back to these previous resistance levels though. That's just to be quite frank with you. I think it would take a little bit more for this RSI to be a little bit lower for it to see that steep run up, the same way that we saw this year, where RSI hit bottom and then we saw this run up, right? But now RSI is here, so there's only so much it can go up before it's going to find that zone where it's overbought and it's going to come down. So obviously I think there's a little bit more upside here, but I don't think it's going to be substantial enough for any sort of, you know, breakout here in terms of this high of 653,000 satoshis. So that's what I would say with this coin. So let's take some questions here, see what else we got. So he says, Rob Rier said gas looks pretty good though. Yeah, I mean, it would probably go up, but it's just not, you know, like I said, it's not probably going to see a huge parallel run up, especially being away from that 50-day right now. It was under at this point. Now it's over, and not only that, RSI is still high. So a lot of coins right now are a little bit higher than they need to be. Somebody said, hey buddy, have been with the Ruby Snipers team for a month now. Your content is great and have enjoyed the convos and the content. Would you be able to give me an update on XLM? Dapper, by the way. For sure, Elliot Sheenan. Thank you for the intelligent comment. Let's pull up XLM. We'll do a quick XLM update. So XLM is still forming this handle. This is actually something we drew out before this first red candlestick showed, and I determined that it was going to drop down. So the best buying position, in my opinion, see, this is where you want to zoom in, by the way. So when you're seeing a chart like this and you're trying to get an entry point, now you want to zoom in. See the 1 hour. What's happening on the 1 hour? RSI hit a little bit of a bottom here. MACD is starting to cross up. Now the only difference here, though, if you pull up the 4 hour, you can see a little bit of a different scenario. RSI is a little bit higher. Going to the 1 day, RSI is really high. So it's really more of a determining factor on, is this going to see enough volume to actually push its way up? You can see there's a little bit of buy volume starting to come, but for the most part, volume is extremely low with XLM right now, which is expected as this handle forms. Once again, that's what the handle is for. It's to recharge. I think XLM may see a little bit of a horizontal price movement before it's going to have a breakout, and I'm completely fine with that. That's how handles typically form, right? So you can see with this cup and handle, we see the top right here where it formed, and now we're seeing this crossover. You're seeing it starting to form that handle. In my opinion, we'll see that horizontal price movement. We might see a little bit of a run-up. Might test these resistance levels once again. If you are putting in a position, a buy position, I would say have stop losses set up just in case it might go lower, because there is a certain possibility that it could go back down to these lower lows, maybe around these levels where we saw previous resistance. These might turn into support. But I think we're in better prices right now in terms of buying. So there wouldn't, in my opinion, wouldn't hurt you to buy this and put an entry at these price levels. There's nothing wrong with it. But I'm still watching this 1 day to see if the RSI and the MACD are going to become a little bit more appropriate for a buy. Because you can see that fast line just curved instantly. If you pull this up, you can see how this fast line just started to curve back down. So it looks like it's about to cross back down. And I have a feeling it's going to go down at least until it hits this previous support and then start to reverse back from there. So that's the case, that means price levels. If this goes down, the price levels are most likely going to go down too. So I still feel like there's a little bit more depth that we can find here. Once again, my initial target was right where this candlestick ended here. So this was my initial target. It was right here. If you guys pull up, this is actually from one of our Patreon trade alerts that we posted. I talked about XLM forming this cup and handle. So if you go to our posts on Patreon, you can see exactly how that was forming here, and I'll show you exactly how that looks here. Let me pull that up. So on our posts, the way we posted it on Patreon looked a little bit different than how it looks right now. You can see here the XLM post that we had right here. You can see that initial buy zone was right here with this little gap occurred. So this was the trading view chart that we posted for our trading alert. So the buying zone was right here. So we're in the buying zone just a bit. See, look at that. We predicted this even before it happened. That's why I tell you guys, patterns are predictable. Look at this. We predicted on our trading alert that it was going to go up, bounce on this, go down, and that's where the buy zone was at. And that's exactly what happened. Look at that. Went up, bounced back. It's predictable. It's a pattern. I'm telling you guys. I've been doing this. I know what I'm talking about. Look at that. So I think the best buying zone, though, in my opinion, I'm trying to see if it can hit that level again and then buy right at that middle point. So hopefully that helps out, brother. Now we're going to be heading over to our Ruby and Above Night Owl. For those of you that are Rubies, that are receiving our trading alerts and such, we're going to be heading over there in just a second. We'll take a couple more questions here, and we'll see if we have any more. Somebody says, yes, man, just hold it. It'll go up. Yeah, if you're holding, then you're fine. Any thoughts on Electrium? Yeah, Tony Westbrook. We talked a little bit about that. I think that it's fine. You know, like the CNBC guy said, if it goes 50% down, don't be worried. You know, that's the cryptocurrency market. I'm not worried about that. That's just a little bit of a sell-off that we're seeing. Probably somebody that had a large holding. A lot of people are mining it too, so that could have influenced the price a little bit too. Somebody said, don't play with me. Do you believe in diversifying your portfolio? I don't know what you're talking about. I'll definitely be honest with you, this market hasn't been the best lately. I think a lot of us know that. Somebody says, I took $250 out of my mortgage to put into Dogecoin at an all-time high because my friend said it was going to keep mooning. It dropped 50%. Should I hodl? Thanks. That's up to you, man. That was just a bad decision. You know, you want to buy low and sell high. Don't buy high and sell low. So, you know, I typically don't sell at losses because I don't typically buy them at a point where I have the potential of having loss because I always have my stop loss alert set up, or in some way, shape, or form I have a risk management technique in place. So somebody said update on XLM. Yeah, we just did the update, brother. So hopefully that helped out a little bit. Let's see what else we got. Are you a trained sniper in the US or Israel? You're wicked smart, Chief. Represent. Jampa. Thank you, man. I'm not a trained sniper. No. The reason we call this YouTube channel Snipers is because if you go on the web browser and you type in, check this out. People don't know this. This is a little hack. If you type in YouTube, if you do youtube.com/snipers, it literally takes you to our channel. So we got a little bit of that privilege there for being such a large community. If you do snipers/live, it actually takes you to the live stream. So that's another hack. youtube.com/snipers/live. You can actually go into these live streams before they start. It's a little bit of a trick. So hopefully that helped somebody of you guys in some way. So we're going to start heading over to our Ruby and Above Night Owl, guys. Once again, our Ruby and Above Night Owl is going to be a little bit more of a closed-off environment because I do want to discuss the futures of Snipers Tube a little bit and go into a little bit more depth where I want people that are more vested into Snipers Tube there. So we currently have a ton of people there right now. I'm going to be heading over there. So I'll see some of you guys there. For those of you that aren't Rubies, you guys can actually chat here in the voice too. We got tons of other great individuals here like Bobby and EQ here that will go ahead and run that chat. So if you guys want to plug in your chats, you guys can actually take advantage of that. So I look forward to seeing some of you guys at our Ruby and Above Night Owl. Did you guys enjoy the night? Did you guys enjoy the night? Somebody says, Naeem, are you going to do a podcast about tonight's topic? I don't know what you're talking about. Yes, there is a podcast. For all Rubies and above, you guys will also get the recording. So if you're a Ruby and above and you're not going to be at that, I will be giving the recording because all Sapphires get recordings of every single one of our Night Owls live calls and anything we do. But the Rubies and above will get the recording of the Ruby and Above Night Owl tonight. Yes. We will be doing that. That was something that I didn't at first implement, but now I am going to start to implement that. Somebody says, yes, yes. Everybody's happy. Aaron, good to have you. Kelly, good to have you. Marius, good to have you. Said, could you, let's see here. Hell yeah, somebody said. Abdul Raham. Somebody says, could you look at EOS buy and entry point? Hey, if I were you, Marius, see if you can get into one of the voice chats and ask one of our analysts here, or maybe ask one of our mods. I think somebody else can help you, man. You don't always have to have me do it. But I do have to go head over to this Ruby and Above Night Owl. I want to kind of start this up earlier than later. So I know some of us have work and stuff. Now, when something's going down, how do you know when to get in position in the coin? Look for Fibonacci retracements. Look for 50-day moving averages. Look for MACD and RSI. Those are the best entry and exit indicators in my opinion. I love Electroneum just getting killed. Yeah, I know. I'm putting in more into Electroneum. You know, I'm buying more as it goes down, to be honest with you. I was trying to actually get my order in soon. Somebody says, appreciate your work. Thank you, Colby. EOS. Didn't we do EOS already? I think we did EOS. You can always just start this video and... Yeah, I think we did EOS. We talked about it starting to curve. Remember the RSI MACD going down? So yeah, I think it's going to start heading down. Look, MACD and stuff. RSI is high. MACD is curving. I think we're going to see a little bit of pressure here because you can see we're at these resistance lines. It doesn't look like we're shaping up too fondly. If you pull up the 1 hour, you can see a little bit of a better perspective. Now here's the thing. I will watch and tell you right now, if it breaks this level, it will break out higher. So if this breaks out, it will break out higher. And you can put in a buy position right on top of that, buy at the breakout. There is strategies where you do buy high, right? It's not a universal strategy to buy in the red and sell in the green, but some traders, you need to be a little bit more experienced to do that. But you can buy at breakouts, right? And then you just have to know how to take profits. Don't get emotionally tied to the price levels. So if you buy at breakouts, be careful. I'm just going to let you guys know that now. So there you go. All right, guys. Take care. Thank you. I'll see some of you guys at the Night Owl. Any questions? Is Ruby private group? Yes, El Salon. It is a private group, but anybody can get on there. You just have to be a Patreon Ruby. So I think somebody posted, Big B posted, no, Sarah posted it. Sarah Collymap, one of our promoters here, posted it. So you can just follow that link, patreon.com/snipers, and then Ruby and above. So all Rubies. And you guys will also get the recording if you're not there and you go to sleep. That's fine. But you just go to Patreon and you just go to Ruby and above, and that's a group there for you. But for those of you that aren't Rubies, you just go to the Voice 2 chat and we'll be there. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Jorge, Ramsey, Joe, Seedless, Donnie, Top Owned, Aaron, Gary Klaus, Wax, Steph Z, Pill Paxton. I like that 2X, man. It stands out. Crypto Brand, Joe Murillo, Edwin Vargas, Al Salone. That's a slick name. Hannah Tech, Carmine Limon. There's some really cool names here today. Marius Langfelt. You're very welcome, mate. Cheers. Tony Westbrook. I thought I said Westbrook. Samuel, Clash of the Clowns, Rob Rear, Julio. Take care, guys. All right. I'll see you guys at the Night Owl tonight. For those of you heading over to the Ruby Night Owl, we're going to be heading over there right now. And with that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Remember to like this video before you leave so that we can get that exposure, get that ranking on YouTube, get more community members into our team so that we can have more knowledge to spread upon and some wisdom. And like always, snipers out.